Welcome to the Peace and Justice Center of Sonoma County's annual awards presentation. As you all know, the world changed in 2020, and we were not able to have our annual awards presentation in person as we were used to. It didn't just change for us, it changed for everybody. So we had to adapt. And so this year, 2021, we are bringing you an online presentation of the annual awards. These awards are for individuals and organizations who are pillars of this community. And we're so honored to present them to you so that you can get a little bit of insight into what they've been doing for all of us. Additionally, we have some great musicians because we need to break it up. There's all the activists and the people who are being awarded for hard work for things that are heartbreaking, right? And overwhelming. And so we bring a little music to bring some lightness to the evening. And we really want to thank you all for tuning in. And we hope that you, if you're able, will open your purse strings and donate to our online auction as well as to the Peace and Justice Center as a whole. If there's something you want us to earmark those funds for, please do let us know. What's important to you? What are you passionate about? And together, this center, all of us, can bring some real positive change to the world. Thank you and enjoy your evening.
Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Rebel Fagan. I'm the president of the board at the Peace and Justice Center, and this is our 2021 awards ceremony. Some of the other members of our board include Attila Nagy, former president, and Audrianna Jones. Now, if you come in here Monday through Friday, the person behind the desk that you will see is our executive director, Shakina Black. And if you've been with the center for any length of time, you know a great deal of what we do. We rely on volunteers. And Linda Sator is our volunteer coordinator, which is a very important role in making all of this happen because this is your center. And she helps us organize each other so that we can be successful in pushing the rock up the hill just a little bit further. Okay, a little bit over, well, just before COVID, I was elected president of the board of the Peace and Justice Center. After we got over the initial shock of COVID, I said, what's important to us? What should we work on? And I was told homeless and immigrants. And I was told homeless people and the environment. And I was told the unhoused. And it became very clear what direction we wanted to go. So because of you, which is we, which is each other, we were able to do a drive that brought in sleeping bags, backpacks, roller luggage, wonderful knit hats and dry socks. And for several months we were able to give food to people. Now, we're going down into the camps and talking to people. And frequently we'd show up and somebody'd say, can I have an extra soup? There's a woman in the tent who's too scared to come out. She hasn't come out for a week. Can I have an extra soup for her? Or, can I get another coat? There's this old guy, he's deaf and mostly blind. Can I get this to him? That's America, friends. And we're in a democracy. That means we got to do things. You see, it's our job to do this. And so, for about a year, we've been going out and giving people supplies, feeding them when we could. And about 2 months ago, we opened the center again for visitors to come in. There are new COVID protocols, of course. And to find out about them, or to read the Peace Press, or to look at any of our other activities, get online, find your search engine, and go to pjc.org. soco.org, and it will all be laid out for you. Now tonight we have 5 awards we're giving out to some very awesome women and organizations. These are people who epitomize activism. You see, life is a playground, and most people sit on the benches staring at the rides. Activists don't even bother with the benches. They get on the swing, so they get on the whirly thing. They go down the slide. That's who we're honoring. People who jump into the ocean of life, parting the waters of humanity to make the world a better place. And I'm so glad you're here to honor these awardees with us at your Peace and Justice Center award ceremony. Thank you.
Hi, I'm really glad that people are watching this and participating in the award ceremony. 3 days from now, the silent auction that we're doing online is going to end. The link to go to the auction, if you haven't been there already and started bidding on the amazing things, is on the Peace and Justice Center website. It's also probably in some emails you've gotten, and you should be curious because it's going to have a really great silent auction. In fact, I'm going to show you some of the stuff. We got a lot of really nice donations from some people in Sebastopol that all at one point or another lived on the farm in Tennessee. We got this really beautiful hand-dyed tie-dye shirt for men. I think it's a large. This beautiful linen shirt for men. It's an extra large. We got this set of beautiful cards that are handmade by one of the artists there. Prints, paintings. The silent auction is going to be great. There's pottery, there's jewelry, there's gift certificates, there's beer from Moonlight Brewing. In fact, there's some wine and olive oil, and even a 3-pack of really amazing Tilted Shed special edition Graton Apple Fair Farm Trails apple hard cider. And I don't know if you guys know, sweepstakes winner for the gold medal furthermore donated a case of wine that, you know, it's a Harvest Fair Award winner. So if you're a wine snob, check out the wine stuff on the auction. And there's this lovely, and as Green Mary is showing you, there's this beautiful purple handmade purse that's, I think it's more of like a grocery bag. It's really strong. It's not like, you know, it's tough and it's an industrial thing. Oh, one of our steadfast donors, the luggage people here in Santa Rosa on Courthouse Square, they always donate something good. In fact, I think there's a backpack too. Is that from them? Yeah.
On your luggage.
So there's this great backpack. Rebel's also wearing our RBG pot holder, which is in the auction, and a Peacetown hat. We have a Peacetown sweatshirt and a Peacetown t-shirt. So I hope you'll all bid. And I hope as many of you who donated feel our gratitude. Thank you for all our donors. Go online and bid. Thanks.
On behalf of the Peace and Justice Center, we want to thank the Youth Activist Organization Award and award it to the Sunrise Movement of Sonoma County and thank them for all their local work.
Thank you. I just want to thank the Peace and Justice Center for this award. It's truly an honor to be recognized and to win this award. And I also want to thank our other trekkers who did this long trek with us. I want to thank Vianney and Catalina and Mary Cruz, who aren't from Sonoma County, but who did just as much work as we did. I also want to thank the other organizers of this trek, Jesse, Nikayla, Jeremy, everyone who helped put this action on, because without their efforts, this wouldn't have been possible. I also want to thank Elaine Holtz from Women's Spaces for nominating us and for being an amazing ally to our movement into this action. I also want to thank North Bay Jobs with Justice, who we got to meet with along the trek and who helped organize our Sonoma County action. They put so much effort into this action as well, so I want to thank them. And also, I want to give a shout out to Emma, who also did this trek with us and also won this award, and who's also from Sonoma County, but she's currently in Washington, D.C. doing a hunger strike in front of the White House. So she couldn't be here with us today, but she did so much to put this on, and she also walked with us, and so huge shout out to her.
Yeah. My name's Lola. I was also one of the trekkers, and I want to start with some words from Emma, actually. She started her hunger strike today, and I've been holding her in my heart, sending her love and power. So she said, "I'm going on a hunger strike to demand that Joe Biden keep his promises on climate and jobs legislation. My friends and I are going on a hunger strike for the climate, jobs, and justice in the very same bill that we marched hundreds of miles for this summer. We are at a crossroads as a country. This is the last chance to pass huge climate legislation, but Biden is folding to fossil fuels. I'm going on a hunger strike because the sacrifice that I am doing is little in comparison to the fires that could not burn and the hurricanes that could not hit." And then also, I wanted to read a poem that I wrote after the march, just about it, like reflecting on it and like reliving it a little bit. Doesn't really have a name. I think back on those weary golden days under the sun, and I have to smile. I hold each moment in a locket under my skin to visit when I'm lonely. Do you remember? The sky like an ocean above us, our feet treading on clouds, our wings riding the breath of history. Cricket song and heat waves throbbing in the air, an idiot wind on the backs of our necks, and some old poet swimming in my ear, peaceful, powerful. We were so alive. Do you remember how the muddy irrigation dripped into our bloodstreams and sloshed against the cages of our hearts? Do you remember how the freeway howled in our throats, and embers seared our lungs until we choked and cried and collapsed with laughter? Do you remember the soft moments, the prayers whispered into hollow nights, or nights swollen with starlight and traffic, or nights humming like neon with visions of the revolution? Do you remember the pulse of the stars spinning above, the whipping, spitting, thrashing wind, the gentle song of the river? Do you remember that moment when we could feel infinity? How it rumbled through the pavement, stretching up to the sun, how it rumbled through our bodies till we danced like fools in the morning light. So many footsteps, so many stories, so much power when you live your truth, when you let it burn, furious and raw against the dark.
Yes, Mama!
I love that. Beautiful. So we are inviting all of you to join us and to support Sunrise Movement, support the trekkers, support the hunger strike currently going on in Washington, D.C. To learn more about Sunrise Sonoma County, you can find us on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, and you can also find us more information on our website, which is www.sunrisesonomacounty.org. And thank you again.
All right, for my next song, I'll play Love by Nat King Cole. And once again, it's John Simon on the piano, and I'm Joshua Blue Green on the Crips.
Hello, my name's Rebel, and I was asked to read a poem, and I thought of all of them, this is the most philosophically definitive. Now, this is a participation poem. So get up at some point, and I'm going to go like this, and one part of the room's going to go war cry. Then I'll go like that, and you'll say resistance. War cry, resistance. It'll build up 4 times at one point, and then I'll go and just shush. And then we'll have our product. It's called The Other in Me. Somos el otro, somos el otro. Mis hermanas y hermanos somos el otro. From the beggars on the street to the children that you meet, somos el otro. From the farmers in the hills to those suffering from ills, somos el otro. Somos el otro, somos el otro. Mis hermanas y hermanos somos el otro. We hide our faces so that will be seen. We mask our words so you'll know what they mean. From Chiapas to Basra, from Peshawar to Gaza, somos el otro. From the stranger you may fear to the friends you draw near, somos el otro. Somos el otro, somos el otro. Mis hermanas y hermanos somos el otro. We hide our faces so that will be seen. We mask our words so you'll know what they mean. This is the group part. War cry. Resistance. War cry. Resistance. War cry.
Resistance!
Occupation. Keep going. Curfew. Don't voices speak. Genocide.
Resistance! War cry.
Night patrol.
Resistance!
Sound weapon. Nowhere left to hide.
Resistance!
War cry. Resistance. War cry. Resistance. Occupation. Checkpoint. Don't trust the open sky.
Resistance!
The world watches in silence as every day we die. War cry. Resistance. War cry. Resistance. War cry. Resistance. War cry. Resistance. You are the other, and the other is me. And the sooner that we get it, the sooner that we'll be free. I said. The sooner that we get it, the sooner we'll be free. We'll be free. We'll be free. Somos el otro, somos el otro. Mis hermanas y hermanos, somos el otro.
So, we are very proud to honor a very special organization that provides an essential service in the immigrant community, and that is the Graton Day Labor Center, otherwise known as Centro Laboral de Graton and ALMAS. And I'll let you pronounce ALMAS, the acronym. And I want to introduce you and give you the award.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Attila. Thank you for nominating us.
Oh,
Yes, thank you so much.
thank you for being.
Okay. My name is Mi nombre es Patricia Garibay. Soy parte del Centro Laboral de Graton. Soy parte de ALMAS y es un placer y estoy súper feliz de estar aquí. Y de parte de los trabajadores, del personal y la Junta Directiva del Centro Laboral de Graton y ALMAS, deseamos expresar nuestra profunda gratitud al Centro de Justicia y Paz del Condado de Sonoma por este premio. La misión de nuestra organización es promover y proteger a los derechos de los trabajadores inmigrantes mediante la promoción del liderazgo democrático, participativo y la solidaridad de los trabajadores, con el fin de desarrollar mayores oportunidades de empleo, salud, educación y participación cívica.
Gracias, Patti. I'm translating for Pate, and I will introduce myself and introduce her. And I'm Christy Lubin. I'm the director of the Graton Day Labor Center and ALMAS stands for the Alianza Laboral de Mujeres Activas y Solidarias. the Women's Labor and Solidarity Alliance. And we're super excited to be here, and I'm really honored to stand here with my friend Patricia Garibay, who is a great leader in our organization, both within the Day Labor Center and in ALMAS. On behalf of the workers, staff, and board of directors of the Graton Day Labor Center and ALMAS, we wish to express our deep gratitude to the Peace and Justice Center of Sonoma County for this award, and to my dear friend Attila for nominating us for this award. Our friendship goes back a long time, and really honored, Attila. Thank you. Our organization's mission is to advance and protect the rights of immigrant workers by promoting participatory democratic leadership and worker solidarity in order to develop greater opportunities for employment, health, education, and civic participation.
En el 2001 comenzamos a organizar con jornaleros y trabajadoras del hogar por sus derechos y dignidad como trabajadores y como inmigrantes. Al entrar en nuestra tercera década de hacer este trabajo, nuestra visión de una comunidad segura y saludable que valora la equidad y la inclusión, donde los trabajadores inmigrantes y sus familias pueden vivir y trabajar con dignidad y respeto, permanece firme. Aunque no podemos estar con usted en persona hoy, estamos felices de poder compartir nuestro valioso trabajo con la comunidad del Centro de Paz y Justicia.
In 2001, we began organizing with day laborers and domestic workers for their rights and dignity as workers and as immigrants. As we enter our third decade of doing this work, our vision of a safe and healthy community that values equity and inclusion, where immigrant workers and their families can live and work with dignity and respect, remains steadfast. Although we can't be with you all in person today, we're happy to be able to share our valiant work with the peace and justice community virtually.
Nuestros líderes están a la vanguardia del movimiento de justicia para inmigrantes y trabajadores agrícolas en el condado de Sonoma y en todo el estado. En el condado de Sonoma, nuestros líderes de trabajadoras domésticas han reunido a la comunidad de derechos de los inmigrantes en una campaña para presionar a la Junta de Supervisores que pase una resolución que aborde los derechos de los inmigrantes tanto a nivel local, estatal y nacional.
Our leaders are on the forefront of the immigrant and farm worker justice movement in Sonoma County and throughout the state. In Sonoma County, our domestic workers leaders have brought together the immigrant rights community in a coordinated campaign to pressure the Board of Supervisors to issue a resolution addressing immigrant rights both here on the home front, locally, statewide, as well as the national immigrant rights movement.
Muchas gracias.
Can you please say it?
Yeah. Gracias, muchísimas gracias por este reconocimiento, es un honor para nosotros y gracias a Cristi que está ahí al frente de nosotros. Gracias.
So Patti just says thank you. Once again, thank you to all, to everyone. And I just want to add one part. And Patti's a really important leader, as are many of the members of our organizations. And we just 2 weeks ago, the Governor Newsom signed SB 321. And this bill is called the Health and Safety for All Workers Act. And we have won or taken the first step in winning the termination of the exclusion of domestic workers from health and safety standards in California. This is a historic victory in this country that hopefully will lay the foundation for other similar victories in other states, because domestic workers have been excluded since the days of slavery from just basic labor rights. And our leaders, Patti, Annabelle, Socorro, Daisy, Juana, there are many, there are dozens of women have spent hours and hours and hours going to Sacramento, doing virtual lobby visits, speaking to the press. They have appeared across the country in national press around this issue. And our bill was signed just 2 weeks ago, and we'll be forming a committee that will make recommendations to the state of California around how private homeowners like myself, someone who might hire a house cleaner, can protect the workers who come into my home to work. So we're making history together.
Yes.
And we're really excited about this award, and this award is really an affirmation for us of all of the hard work that we do. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Little old planet rolling around and round in space. This is our home, don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. So many people, so kind, it's good to see. But all the world's children must be free. Many wait for a sign of release. Without justice, we'll never have peace. So make a killing from the weapons they sell. If we let them, we may blow us all to man-made hell. In this nuclear age, we have a choice on the world stage, yes. The future is now, don't let it slip away. Tomorrow comes from what we do today, don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Share what you know is true in your heart. We are one humanity from the start. Negotiate so no stones will be cast, 'cause these borders and walls cannot last. Learn from the wise, it's love we need. Every one of us must plant the seed. And bless this earth on which we dwell, while there's water, water to draw from the well. Bless this earth on which we dwell, while there's water to draw from the well. I say, bless this earth on which we dwell, while there's water and water to draw from the well. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away. Don't blow it away.
Our next recipient is a woman who typifies an activist. Somebody who will jump on the rides of life and not just sit and stare at them. You see, about 20 years ago or so, Julie Butterfly Hill gave a speech in which she asked, "Where's a way?" And this boil festered in our next recipient's consciousness until it blossomed. And remember, pearls are made from a great irritant. Into a company called Green Mary. Now, full disclosure, I work for her, but that's not why Mary Munat is here. Through Green Mary, she's reduced the climate change impact of events ranging from Pride San Francisco to weddings and company picnics. And along the way, she takes in disabled, abandoned animals to prep them so they can be adopted for the Humane Society. Now, when COVID hit, everything had to shift, you know that. And through her efforts, we delivered food to places like Sam Jones or the kitchen or the gospel mission to people in need. Most recently, she started a nonprofit called Good Works. She'll tell you more about that. So, we're giving her the Unsung Hero Award. The unsung hero is not the person on stage. They're the person providing the stage. And in this case, the person cleaning the stage following. So I'd like to present Mary Munat here with our award for Unsung Hero of the Year. Thank you, Mary. I'm going to let you talk and just sort of walk out of here.
All right. Well, this is just such an honor to receive the Unsung Hero for Sonoma County from the Peace and Justice Center. I'm really in good company. It's pretty humbling, given all the people that I hang out with, including Rebel, who are doing so much good in the world locally and around the world. So, as Rebel said, I got my start in Sonoma County through hearing Julia Butterfly Hill speak, and I had a history before then of definite activism. I was born to parents who were socially progressive and very well intentioned, and they inculcated into me and my three siblings the need to be of service on the planet. And it was almost like, if you're not of service, you shouldn't be around. So I shucked that off for a little while, but came back full steam in my 20s and 30s. And I volunteered for many, many organizations, environmental, for animals, for foster kids. And as Rebel said, recently started Good Works. And in addition to delivering food, rescued food to camps and kitchens, we deliver water to encampments for the unhoused. In the East Bay, we deliver to about 8 camps, and we've just started with camps in Sonoma County. We'll be doing fundraising soon for that. We put out 55-gallon drums or 275-gallon tanks so that people who don't have access to water will. And Green Mary definitely works on saving stuff from the landfill and getting things out into the world, repurposed and of use. My big passion is making sure that anything that has any other purpose can go to its next home. And I feel one of the primary motivators for me is that I'm going to be doing something with any part of my day, so why not be doing good? I have a lot of energy, and so like when I wake up, I'll think, oh, I can slot in 2 extra hours today to do blah blah, and I'll just scroll through my mind of all the volunteer activities that I'm involved in, and I'll go to the shelter or go pick up litter or deliver water to the people who are in RVs on Coffee Lane, and it's really rewarding. In addition to the volunteering in organizations, one of my main passions is just taking long walks and picking up plastic litter. I'm really obsessed about not letting plastic waste wash down into our waterways as it kills seabirds and sea life. So that's really one of my bugaboos, making sure that any plastic that I see gets rescued and doesn't go down the waters. So that's me, and I just, like I said, I'm really honored to receive this award from the Peace and Justice Center and to get to work with people like Rebel and hang with all of the amazing people at the Peace and Justice Center and throughout our county who are doing so much good. And thank you to the Peace and Justice Center.
Our next award is called the Russ and Mary Jorgensen Courage of Commitment Award. I use their names because, like many Quakers, which they were, like many Spanish Civil War vets that I've met, there is a samud, a steadfastness beyond steadfastness. Never questioning whether it should be done, just what do we got to do to make it happen? That's a courage of commitment. And our recipient has demonstrated that over and over again and is on fire. Reminding me of a paraphrase of a Jack London quote, "I'd rather be a comet than a slow, sleepy planet. The purpose of life is to live and not merely exist." And to tell you more about our recipient, Audrianna Jones, I'm going to bring on our Executive Director, Shakina Black.
Thank you, Rebel. Audrianna Jones is a 32-year-old Sonoma County resident who has a growing passion for helping others. After a successful career in the restaurant industry, she decided to venture into the nonprofit arena by developing her skills in food rescuing, cooking for large groups, food safety, volunteer retention, green trashing methods, and many new social services. Audrianna earned a certificate in social and racial justice from the Boards and Commissions Leadership Institute, BCLI, in 2021, and was elected as a commencement speaker by her peers. The BCLI trains leaders committed to advancing social justice, helps them to get onto local and regional boards and commissions, and provides individualized support throughout their commission service. Urban Habitat has built a robust and highly engaged BCLI alumni network. Alumni help one another as they navigate the halls of power and its unique dynamics. They share best practices and mutual support through the year to ensure that their actions result in government accountability and responsiveness to low-income communities of color. During winter 2020 and 2021, Audrianna organized a warm clothing and sleeping bag donation drive to help the houseless people living in encampments and on the streets of Santa Rosa on behalf of the Peace and Justice Center of Sonoma County, where she has served as a board member for several years. Additionally, she facilitated the preparation and delivery of 6 hot soup and sandwich dinners to houseless people during the pandemic lockdown, with support and encouragement from the PJC board, mentoring from Rebel Fagan, cooking from Ian Murray, and many tasks from dedicated volunteers. Recently, she has begun work for housing justice for the County of Sonoma, continuing to incorporate herself more in the community. The Sonoma County Housing Authority is an award-winning local public agency that provides safe, decent, and quality affordable housing and supportive services to eligible persons with limited incomes. Ms. Jones remains courageously committed to finding ways to support those in need.
Come.
Thank you.
There's your award.
Thank you.
And I'm going to step aside so you can talk to folks.
Okay, deal. Thank you. I'm honored and flattered to receive this reward. I've always thought of courage of us facing fear and coming together and dealing with past trauma and using it to move and advance others. So I will be taking this award and making sure that I encourage other people to do everything that they can in the community to help and to build on their past traumas and become stronger. And then also I'm going to continue to learn and grow and strive for the stars when it comes to commitment and courage and social services. I continue to dedicate myself to learning bureaucracy and all the important stuff that's needed for the community, even though not everybody loves doing that. And I really, really, really appreciate this. I know that it will kickstart a bunch of good things in my life, and I can't thank you guys enough.
On behalf of the Peace and Justice Center of Sonoma County, we are honored to present this award to Demetra Smith for the Peace and Justice Activist of the Year. Thank you, Demetra, for everything you've done for our community. Congratulations.
I would like to acknowledge that we are on occupied lands of the Coast Miwok, Pomo, and Wapo people, and I offer deep respect to their relationship to this land for thousands of years. I accept this award in honor of and deep respect to every person who has fought against injustice, racism, oppression, and exploitation in Sonoma County since its occupation and so-called founding in 1850, especially those Indigenous, Black, Asian, and Latinx people whose names we will never know. I would like to thank all of my friends and colleagues. Our journey to and through 2020 was more than challenging, often heartbreaking, and almost always dangerous. We keep us safe. A special thank you to Barbie Robinson and Sheba Person-Whitley, whose groundbreaking work now guides my own. In the words of John Lewis, do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Human rights work happens in 3 stages: awareness, advocacy, and action. I came to Sonoma County with my partner and our 18-month-old son 1 month after 9/11. I was not prepared for the amount of racism I was going to experience. Whether it was aggressive trucks with American flags, constantly being asked for my ID, getting tailed by police checking my license plate, being called racial slurs, seeing multiple sheriff deputies pulling over people of color for routine traffic stops, or being asked if I was my son's nanny, I felt like I had made a serious mistake in moving here from San Francisco. We knew no one. I felt completely and utterly alone and made a decision to live my life under the radar. When my son began to exhibit signs of neurodivergence and significant health issues, we were ostracized by his school, the students, and their parents. I was called 4 times a week to pick him up early, and a school official called CPS on our family. I homeschooled him as best I could and threw myself into studying classical Indian dance while I fought for services for my son. As we built our construction business, I would stay out of sight until contracts had been signed, as my presence would lead to questions and stares. I felt more unwelcome than I ever had in my life. In 2008, after Barack Obama was elected president, a woman was sexually assaulted in an empty lot near my home. I was devastated and decided to organize a Take Back the Night march. I knew that I lived in a Latinx community and wanted to invite my neighbors, but I didn't speak Spanish or have any connections. I found an organization called Vineyard Worker Services, and they agreed to translate my flyer. When the event happened, over 200 people showed up. I could see how energized people were by the bilingual rally, and I began to wonder what more I could do to help build community. I lobbied the county for additional lighting in the area of the assault, and they agreed. My son's health issues worsened, and we nearly lost everything during the 2008 financial crisis. I started a band and wrote songs about human rights issues, but I knew it wasn't making enough of an impact. In 2012, I saw a notice in the newspaper for a first district appointment for the Commission on Human Rights. Something made me want to apply, at least to learn more about human rights in my community. I was accepted and appointed by Valerie Brown. My first experience was a 4-hour meeting in which the commission deliberated a resolution urging the County of Sonoma to divest from the multinational corporation Veolia. They operated Sonoma County Transit and were implicated in human rights violations in the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip in Palestine. The meeting was at capacity, and I was unnerved by the strong presence of law enforcement. I watched the chair break the tie vote and kill the resolution, and couldn't help but notice her visible ties to the sheriff's department. I wasn't sure I could be effective on this commission, but I decided to stay and try. I felt that if the public didn't have an effective human rights commission, there was nowhere else for them to go. It was the 2013 killing of 13-year-old Andy Lopez, the lack of justice from the county, and the targeting of youth activists by law enforcement that made me determined to fight. I faced opposition to place Andy on the agenda and keep the issue there. I felt like every time I brought an issue forward, whether that was lobbying for tiny homes for the unsheltered, pushing for living wages, speaking out against law enforcement use of force, hate crimes, immigrants, women, people with disabilities, and LGBTQ rights, it was ignored by the supervisors or I was censored by the county. When we gave presentations with the Junior Commission on the serious issues these youth were working on, I would receive comments about my hair. In time, I realized there would be no support from the elected officials for the work I was engaged in, but the public was beginning to listen, and that alone kept me going. In the 9 years I was on the Commission on Human Rights as vice chair and chair, my goal was to leave a trail of receipts that could be utilized to uphold and protect the human rights of the most vulnerable members of our community and cited in legal proceedings, to speak out and speak up on equity issues that had been invisible for too long, to demonstrate to the county that the Commission would prioritize human rights investigation and protection over appearance and the status quo, to work with youth and empower them to fight for human rights, and above all, to send a message to the people that they were seen and their human rights mattered. I hoped to bring shape and form to the generational issues that have plagued Black, Indigenous people of color in Sonoma County for generations, like racism in schools, police brutality, the rights of the unsheltered, exploitation of agricultural workers, Indigenous people's rights, and above all, equity. I'm proud to have directed Humans of Sonoma County, the first DEI messaging produced by county government soon after the 2016 election. Many people still have not seen it, as the Board of Supervisors did not support our placing it in theaters and on buses to counter what we all knew was coming. I helped found Savior 6, an organization dedicated to protecting the civil rights of BIPOC students in Sonoma County and nationwide. I saw the uptick in white supremacist activity and hate crimes and launched a state legislative proposal with the San Jose State University Human Rights Institute, the California Law Enforcement Accountability Reform Act, the first legislation drafted in the country to prohibit white supremacist employment in law enforcement, is now making its way through the state legislature to great opposition from police officers' associations, but I will fight for it to become law. I'm glad to see tiny home models finally popping up after lobbying for them since 2013, though I was told by elected officials, homeless service providers, and county power players that they wouldn't work. I wonder how many lives we could have saved if they had been willing to listen to our team of experts, Black and Native people with lived experience who had already developed low-cost programs modeled after evidence-based practices developed by Sharon Lee of the Low Income Housing Institute in my hometown of Seattle. We warned officials of the disaster that would happen if the Roseland encampment was disbanded without adequate resources. 2020 proved to be my most challenging year as we found ourselves confronted by COVID-19 with no staff support and only 5 commissioners. We knew that human rights would take center stage as the foundational inequity of Sonoma County would be exposed. I quickly mobilized to direct all of our funding to purchasing personal protective equipment for the most vulnerable residents and launched the Sonoma County Human Rights Visibility Project, the first human rights incident reporting site in the history of the county and the state of California in 18 languages. I helped found Food for All, Comida para Todos, with longtime organizers in Sonoma Valley, where farm workers and the undocumented had consistently been left out of services and language justice by elected officials. On May 25th, the nation finally awoke to centuries of police violence against Black people with the murder of George Floyd. As I predicted, the anger at unresolved generations of police brutality and killings in Sonoma County and the unhealed wounds of Andy Lopez's killing erupted on the streets of Santa Rosa. My inbox flooded with requests for interviews from newspapers who had never shown a basic understanding of equity or structural racism. I worried that my words would be used to uphold the narrative that Sonoma County was progressive, that there were no police issues, and that we would move past this defining moment without any dismantling of a truly oppressive and anti-Black system. In reality, I had no time for the newspapers, the photo ops, or even to speak at most rallies, as the calls for help from a public that finally trusted the commission were non-stop. I decided in that moment to focus on recording the human rights violations being reported, to use these to confront the system and uphold the voices of the people. On Juneteenth, 2020, we met with the mayor of Santa Rosa and the chief of police behind closed doors with Black, Native, and Latinx injured protesters with support from the American Indian movement. There are no photos of this meeting, but it was one of the most significant experiences of my life as a human rights activist, and I believe the powers that be would like this to be forgotten. Even though I was exhausted, though I experienced surveillance and strange phone calls, received anger from community leaders who told me I was divisive, and faced an official who tried to use a county lawyer to remove me from my post 2 weeks before my resignation, I could not put this work down because the people needed to be heard. The report, Human Rights Violations in Santa Rosa, Policing the Black Lives Matter Protests 2020, was released 20 years after the U.S. Civil Rights Commission described exactly the same problems facing Sonoma County residents from a law enforcement culture that was out of control and desperately needed reform. It took months of pushing to have this report heard by the city of Santa Rosa, and without the support of the public, who made hundreds of calls, public comments, social media posts, and sent emails, it would never have happened 10 months later. So, where are we now? We're still waiting for a ban on tear gas and the use of projectiles on residents. We're still waiting for disciplinary actions against all of the officers that harmed people. Still waiting for screening of white supremacists within law enforcement. Still waiting for the agricultural power structure, itself an outgrowth of exploitative practices on occupied indigenous land, to stop impeding equity work at the county level. Still waiting for the county to embrace anti-racism so Black officials don't face targeting and attacks and continue to leave. Still fighting for justice for farm workers and a farm workers union. Still calling for the county to address decades of structural racism, which kept Black Indigenous people of color from owning and renting homes in neighborhoods, disproportionately unsheltered and denied generational wealth. Still waiting for Black students to be able to learn and grow and thrive without racism and homophobia in schools. Still waiting for land to be returned to California Indigenous people and for their voices to lead environmental stewardship. Still waiting for truly diverse representation in elected office and law enforcement that doesn't inspire fear and harbor misogyny and white supremacy. I have struggled with depression and despair during these years and wondered why I stayed in Sonoma County. I know that this work was never about me, but about empowering all of us to raise our voices and join in the struggle for justice. If anything I have done has helped you find your voice, I am grateful. We must keep on keeping on as we stand on the shoulders of people who stood up in this historically pro-Confederate county, literally built on the enslavement, land displacement, and exploitation of the Gold Rush Holocaust, and said, no. We have the power to change Sonoma County for future generations. If not now, when? If not us, who? Raise your voice. It is all that has ever made change in this world. To the people who stood with me, and you know who you are, I owe you everything. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Kraft, and I'm joined by pianist Chris Alexander tonight. We're so glad to be here to play some music for you, and so the four pieces that I selected are some of my favorites. We're going to play Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King. Then we're going to play the famous Villa-Lied, which means Villa song by Franz Lehár from his operetta The Merry Widow. Then the famous Salut d'Amour, and then the famous, one of my favorite solos, the meditation from Thais. Enjoy.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's presentation, all the speeches and the poetry and the music. We really thank you for all your support over the years, 37 years that this organization has been serving the community of Sonoma County. We hope you spent some time looking at the auction items, and we want you to understand that by donating to attend this online event and bidding on auction items is the way you are contributing to our major fundraiser of the year. It's really important that we keep this organization going and thriving, and we cannot do it without you. Really, we need all of us together to make this work. A special shout out to a few folks. First of all, the Peace and Justice Center Board of Directors, Rebel, Attila, Audrianna, and our newest board member, Cheryl King. We really appreciate everything that you've done for us and that you keep this place going. Also to the advisory board members, especially Alice Waco and Larry Harper, Esther Freeman, and also founding members George Romandy and Sandy Kaplan, and also advisory board member and volunteer coordinator Linda Sartor. Really, folks, you go the extra mile, and we really, really appreciate it. So that brings us to the end of this wonderful evening, and we thank you for participating. You know, we do miss being in person with everyone, and maybe next year we will be able to. But in the meantime, please keep us close in your thoughts, and we look forward to seeing you in 2022. Thank you, and have a good evening.